This video is made available by the Technology and Applied Design program at Berea College under a Creative Commons Attribution, Share Alike version 3.0 license. So in this video, we're going to take a look at how to build out a ruler without risking starting a fire. That sounds really crazy, but depending on how we do things, we could actually cause problems with our laser cutter. So as we saw in class, we create a 2D sketch, we select a piece of paper to draw on, and then what we're going to do is I'm going to draw a rectangle for my ruler. So I'm going to start it here, and I want this to be 6 inches by 1.5. Matt, but I thought we were making a 12-inch ruler. Well, you are. I'm making a 6-inch ruler. So it's a challenge to you that you should do a 12-inch ruler and see if it shouldn't be a big challenge, but I'd like you to do it. So the first thing that I need to do is I need to drop in some lines. So I've drawn my rectangle. I've given it some dimensions. I did that by entering 6. I hit Tab, I entered 1.5, and then I hit Enter, or Return. So to put in my 1-inch line, we come up to the line and sort of snaps to the line. It's really handy that way. I can zoom in a little. I click once, I drop it down. Let's make this 0.3 inches long, and I hit Enter. Now I'm going to hit Escape to quit drawing lines. And I need to dimension this line. So I want it to be from this spot to this spot. And currently, it's 0.792. Well, I want that to be 1 inch. Bam! 1 inch. It's amazing. And I'm going to tap Escape to get out of that tool. And actually, I'm going to come in here. See how if I hover over this, I get this little wah wah sign? That's a technical term. I'm going to click on the dimensions and drag. So I can actually move these little dimensioning lines around, which is kind of handy. Now, I've got 1 inch, and I really want to focus in on the 1 inch. In class, in the previous video too, we saw we can repeat that. Well, I'm not going to do that yet. Zoom to fit, then zoom in a little more on just the inch. And let's go with my pan tool. I'm going to draw another line. This time I'm going to go successively smaller. Let's do a 1/2 inch. I'm going to make this 0.25. Matt, how do you know to make it 0.25? Well, you see, I've got some notes, and I've already decided how long all these things are going to be. You can make these lines as long as you want on your ruler. You have that freedom. So I'm going to go ahead and drag this over here. And we have to decide, or tell Inventor that we want this to be exactly 1/2 inch away from the edge. So I'm going to say 1 divided by 2. Enter. That's 1/2 inch. And it becomes 0.5. 1 divided by 2 is 0.5. All right, so we've got a 1/2 inch mark and a 1 inch mark. And we don't need to repeat this, because if we repeated it, I'll show you what I mean by this being a problem. I could select this one, and then I could select the direction, and I could flip it. And if I make it 0.5 inches, you see how it puts one right here, and there's already a 1 inch line? That's a problem. The laser cutter could do two things. It could crash, or it could come in here and do the 1 inch line, and it could later come in and do another 1/2 inch line. And if it did that enough times, we could damage our part. We could damage the laser cutter. We could start a fire. I mean, cats and dogs living together. Who knew? So we're going to try and make sure we don't cause any repetition that overlaps. Let's come in here now. We've done 1/2. So now we need a 1/4 inch. So let's do this at 0.2 long. Okay. Hit Escape. And I come in and I dimension it by grabbing that end, and I grab the corner. And I'll bring my dimension lines up, and I'm going to do a 1/4 inch, 1 divided by 4. So now it's in a nice place, but I really want another line over here. So that calls for the rectangular pattern tool. We saw this a couple of times, but the first thing we do is when it says geometry, it's sort of like feature. It means give me some geometric thing, and a line is a geometric thing. So we'll select a line. Now we have to come in and say, well, what direction? What's going to determine the direction? If we select this line, it means we want to go along this line left to right. The arrow, however, is telling us it's going to go right to left. That's no good. So let's flip that. And we want this. Well, how far do we want it to be? This is the 1/4 inch mark. We could start with a 1/4 inch, but we see that it's right there. So even if we said we wanted 3, it would give us 1 in this space in between, but it would have an overlap. So what if I say, let's see, what's bigger than a 1/4 inch? A 1/2 inch? All right. If I say 2, so 1/4 inch and a 1/4 inch. 1/4 plus 1/4 is 2 quarters. 2 quarters. 2/4 becomes 1/2. You could also think of it as 25 and 25 cents becomes 50 cents. And cents means parts of 100. So 0.25 plus 0.25 is 0.5. So there we go. This 1/4 inch is a 1/2 inch away from this mark, and we don't have anything drawn here. So now we've got those 0.5 apart. I can even come in. I can't. I can try and move this thing up here, so it's a little less messy. All right, so I've got the 1/2 inch line. I've got the 1/4 inch lines. I now want to come in and do the 1/8 inch line. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. And let's make those 0.15. Okay. I hit escape. And I want to dimension that line. So I go from the line to the corner. I got pretty close on that. 1 divided by 8 is 0.125. So now let's repeat it. And we want to repeat it not 1/8 but 2/8 away. That's one way we could do it too. We could come in here and say the direction is this way. Go to the right, please. And it's going to be 2/8. Ooh, tricky. So if we were to reduce that fraction, look at that. If I hover over it, it even tells me that's a 1/4 inch, 0.25. So that's really handy. But I can even, in this case, go 1 2/8. Let's repeat that. 3, is that enough times? No. Do I need to repeat it 4 times? Ooh, yes. And I can say, okay. Very fancy. Now, some of these dimensions are getting in my way. I'm going to move this one over to here. I'm going to move this one over to here. All right. So we have now the 16th inch. And I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. Look at that. Our ruler is coming along. Come in and do the 16th. And how long does that have to be? I'm going to undo that. Undo. Grab. Undo. I'm going to come in. Do that one. Let's make it 0.1. All right. And we have to dimension that. Grab the top. Grab the corner. And it should be 1/16. Say OK. And I'm going to hit escape. And I'm going to move my little dimensions. Just why am I moving those? Because I'm paying attention to detail. Now they're all on the right-hand side. Does it matter? Not really. Not right now. Now we've got this 16th inch mark. If we go 1/16, we'll be here. This is 2/16. 3, 4/16. So we need to go 1 2/16 with our repetition. So I need to choose the rectangular pattern tool. That's my geometry. That's my direction. Flip it. And the spacing is 2/16. Ooh, very cool. Now the repetition. I'm going to tell you that I think it's 8. It is 8. So there we go. At this point, we have a ruler that is nicely put together in 1 inch, but we don't have the whole thing. So this was the last cool thing from class. Once we build part of a thing that's repeated, we can repeat all that stuff. So I'm going to zoom in here. And the last piece here is, how do you select all these things? Now we could say that we want to do a repeat. We want to do this one, and 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 this one. And I don't like the idea of doing that. That's really annoying to me. So we could also select them. Now if we select from the right, I'm clicking and dragging to the left. Everything I touch will be selected. But that's kind of a problem. I'm going to do that again. Click, drag. So every single thing that the box is touching will be selected. And you see I selected the end of the ruler. Bad. Now I could fix that by just being a bit more careful. So I've only selected my lines. The other way to do it is if I go from the left to the right. Now, only things that are completely surrounded by the red are selected. So you notice how this line is not highlighted. That's because I had to zoom out, I did not select this entire line. I would have to go like that. And I did not do that. I only selected the marks we made. So at this point, it's the same process. I'll zoom out a little so we can see. I'm going to pick my direction. That's the wrong way. I'm going to flip it. And then, let's see, I have a 6-inch ruler. So I'm going to repeat this 6 times. Okay, that's no good. And as it happens, I did this in class, but I was confused in class, but now I'm smarter. I put my repetition in the distance space. That's silly. What I really want to do, and I really got confused in class, but what I want to do is I want to repeat this every inch, and I want 6 of them. I say, okay, and now I have a 6-inch ruler with all the right tick marks in all the right places. And I think that is pretty cool. So, the challenge for you first, or really not a challenge, but an opportunity to practice, is do that with a 12-inch ruler, or 18, or whatever you like. And that's it for now.